Hello, this is the November 10th meeting of the Guilford Shellfish Commission. My name is Bob Berger. I am the chairman of the commission. We run the municipal clamming and oystering program here in Guilford, Connecticut. This is our monthly meeting. We follow a set agenda, which unfortunately we cannot display tonight due to some technical issues. It's pretty standardized. Item 1 on our agenda is the public forum. I think there's a couple members of the public here. I know there are. Just want to say hello and we can sort of see who you are.
How you doing? Joe Amatrano.
David Rosenthal. Nice to see you guys.
Oh, I just got a text message from John Hall. He's probably trying to get in. So welcome to both of you guys.
Thank you.
I know Mike has told you some things about the commission. This is our monthly meeting. There's not a lot of circumstance here. It's just kind of routine business. But we can certainly use your help at times, especially during the springs and summer seasons when we get really busy. Item number 2, minutes from the October 13th meeting. They were sent out probably earlier today. I don't know if anybody got a chance to look at them. I did. They looked okay to me. Anybody else get a chance to look at them? No?
I took a peek at those, Bob. They looked accurate to me.
Okay. If everybody's okay, can someone make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted?
Make a motion to approve minutes as stated.
Any second?
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, accepted. Item number 3, the commercial activity and licenses. Peter, why don't you tell us what's going on?
So commercial activity, we're straight up with Ricky Greenleaf. I'd spoken with him last week. He did not renew one of the lots. Otherwise, he's current. I do have correspondence from Madison about the lot that they access on Guilford property. I've got to get communication in place with is that Stella Moore? I'm trying to remember. I don't have it in front of me. But of those folks in the commercial side, I did reach out to last month. I've not heard back from several, and I do need to actually call them. And this deals with the 2021 annual fees. So we still have some collections to do there. Nothing in this month, however. This is an area.
Yeah, I mean, we are going to December, next year's bills. So if we want, I mean, if they want to combine the two or whatever, it works out best for the, since we were so far behind billing this year, I think it can certainly be flexible enough.
Yeah, this was one of the areas that with COVID and activities that were going on with a number of us on the commission, we simply fell behind. So I've been working with the commercial shellfishers to get that cleaned up, and we'll stay on that, and I'm sure we will. And we'll get it cleaned for 2021, and then we'll be in good shape to move into 2022.
Good. Okay. Thank you. Item number 4 is bills and correspondence. I did go by the mailbox at the town hall, just a bunch of junk mail and flyers for West Marine. There was nothing of there. Ed had gotten an email from, I forget the name of the group. There's a group that does veterans charities to take a vet fishing. And they are, they volunteered or offered to volunteer if we need help with anything. I forget the name of the group. It was Candace, 2 women, Candace and Teresa or something like that. I forget their last names, but a nice offer from that group. Peter, did you have anything?
Yeah, I do. I have some payables for the month. Judy Castellano, September Secretarial Services for $63.88. Judy for October, Secretarial Services, $73. Alan Brown, October warden fees, $320. Nancy Matsiowski, data entry, $146. We did, Bob, you provided the bill for the seedling stocking from Aquacultural Research for $15,509.50. And then Bob, your mileage for retrieving said seedlings, and thank you for that trip, $304.97. So for the month, we have payables in total of $16,417.35.
Okay, great. Anybody have any questions about the bills? No, can someone make a motion to approve if they like?
I'll just also note that we also did stocking from Chris Walston to two different stockings that we do not yet have the invoices for. That'll come in and we'll report on that next month.
Okay. Someone want to make a motion to approve the bills?
I'll motion to approve. Bob.
Second,
I second.
Second. Okay.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 And for the
Thank you.
public's benefit on this call, because there is interest. So generally every year, the funds that we receive from residential or licensing and recreational permits and commercial permits, the majority of that gets plowed back into stocking, of which we budget annually $30,000 plus or minus a year. We had a hard time procuring product in the last fiscal year, so we're kind of doubling down this year. We'll probably spend, closer to $36,000 to $38,000 restocking the beds. The benefit being for those folks that buy those licenses, they always get clams. So it's an important part of our program. The remainder of the funds go to ensuring that we've got wardens on retainer. We operate a boat to be able to do sampling and stocking. And we generally balance our budget with some surplus going into capital reserves.
Right.
Thank
It's
you.
like I said in the past, it's sort of the world's biggest Easter egg hunt. We put them out there and you just got to go find them. I can't even begin to guess how many clams leave the water from Guilford every year, but it's easily tens, if not hundreds of thousands. A big weekend down at Trolley Road, we'll see, with 4 tides, 2 tides on a Saturday and a Sunday, there'll be, more than 100 people down there, and they can take dozens of clams each. So the output goes up, adds up fast. So the stocking is certainly necessary to keep up with the demand. Okay, back to the agenda. Item number 5, Warden's Report. Alan Brown, Greg Hill, Greg Marsh, Fred Hill, Peter Beauvais.
Well, October was still a busy month. We had quite a few people. No problems at all. People are, the clammers are good people. They clean up after themselves, and so there's really nothing extravagant to talk about except that we were pretty busy. But I think this month is going to see it dropping right down to very, very small amounts. I hear some people asking me when we're going to get open, but I think we'll see, where we see probably 15 to 20 to anywhere to 40. In October, we'll see down to a 10 or 12 or something like that on the weekends. But I don't think it's going to be really busy. It's starting to get a little cold, so people are kind of backing off a little bit. So your clammers that are what I call the real busy ones, they'll be coming still. The hardcore, I call them, they'll be still coming. But I think the average clammer that does it on a Saturday and Sunday as a hobby, I think you see that drop off. So I think we're going to see it dropping down to almost nothing in November. So far, it's been 0, as a matter of fact. And I think it'll stay that way. It'll start picking up a little bit, but it won't be much. So in December, again, just a hardcore I have seen people in the past years, I've been doing it now for 7 years. I have seen them out there when it was snowing, going out to clam it. So there are some that still do, but they're very few.
You really
Anyway,
got
everything is good.
All right. Thank you, Alan.
When I get to the financial report, Alan, I've only been on the commission for, I don't know, 4 years, maybe 5 perhaps, but we surpassed our budget for recreational permits, by $8,000. I mean, the amount of recreational licenses we sold in the last fiscal year was phenomenal. And the fact that the stock held up when we were having a hard time stocking says to me, over the years, we laid down a lot of clams there, and it held up. Thank God.
This area right here, Great Harbor we still have more than no problem at all. We have plenty of clams. There's plenty of them out there. I know that because, like I say, I see the people coming in, I'm checking them all. And it's not much to see them come in with their limit. They're coming in with their limit, so they're not complaining at all. So no, we're still in good shape over here. So, but we don't have to worry about this area at least. But we do. I mean, I'll tell you, this summer wow. I've seen 100 people plus out there. I mean, so it was busy. So, but anyway, everything is good.
During COVID, what a great opportunity to be outdoors and socially distanced, spread out, and the breeze blowing through it. So that was great.
You would be surprised to see the amount of women that are going out there. There's a lot of women bring their girlfriend and go out there clamming. So
Great.
It's a good sport, and I would like to see more people from Guilford out there. But in any case, there's a lot of women now that are going out there, even young girls in their late teens, early 20s. They're going out. So it's a good sport. Thank you.
Thank you.
I saw Fred Hill briefly this morning, and he said to say hello. And he is not a big fan of Zoom meetings, but he is still, despite whatever health problems he may have had earlier this year, he's still active and interested and will still continue on as a warden, just in case anybody was wondering. Item number 6, subcommittees. Recreation. Peter, do you have anything special?
Nothing on recreation for me.
Yeah, I don't have anything really to offer there either. Water sample.
Yeah, so Bob, you and I have been doing the water
Sorry.
sampling. The water sampling, I know we were
Yeah.
current right up through the end of October. The month of November we're gonna be sampling on Sunday. All the sampling has been good that we've gotten back from the state. I have no issues with that. After this month, the remainder of the season and into early next year, we'll be on the fireboat. So starting in December, we'll be doing the fireboat to do all the water sampling. And we seeded 2 weeks ago.
Right. We got all that done with the seed clams.
Yeah. David Rosenthal here on the public side, he neighbor of mine, and he came down and helped, and we appreciate that, David. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, David.
That was fun.
Yeah, we're very
I
happy
got
to have
some
you.
small clams in the back of my boat still. That's okay.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Even when you sell it in 5 years, you'll find a few of those in there. So
Rosenthal clams.
the other thing to mention, we are due to reopen tomorrow morning. Just administratively, it's been 2 weeks since we closed. So who else is in? I think all 3 of us here that are people that changed, me, Alan, and plan on changing signs tomorrow morning. The boat, John Hall and Bob Berger. The boat, as far as I know, is in working order. We've been trying to get that throttle adjustment straightened out with East River Marine, but it's hard to get it up there. He wants us to bring it up to him so he can adjust it and then sort of try. I spoke to him the other day and he said, since we're close to bringing the boat out of the water, we could just bring it over on the trailer and he would be able to do whatever adjustments and then winterize it at the same time. So hopefully, that'll take care of it. We won't have a chance to sort of, see for ourselves as to whether or not the problem has been fixed until next year, but it's under warranty. We have another 4 or 5 years of warranty on it, so I don't think there'll be any problems. The boat
But he will not be charging us for the throttle adjustment?
No, not at all.
That's good.
Hey, Bob,
Um,
I wanted to ask,
Oh,
the price of shrink wrapping, I guess, has doubled since last year because there's like a shortage of the material.
like everything else.
I'd like to, before the boat gets commissioned in the spring, to repaint the floor. Do you think we could make some arrangement with the town? I don't know if anybody knows a contact at the town garage to see if maybe they had space for it over the winter, where we could maybe pull it out at one point in time and redo the floor in it, prime it and paint it.
Yeah. I've spoken to a guy over there in the past. I don't know that they have, although they actually bought a new building down there by the DPW. They bought the place that was a trolley repair place. But I don't know what's in that building. I can certainly go talk. The guy's Billy, manager over there, and I can go talk to him and see.
It'd be nice if we could leave it unwrapped, and I know that like one of the batteries I don't think is good anymore. It could possibly be the battery switch, where we should get the batteries tested. If the battery is good, you could kind of assume it's the switch at that point in time. And
Right.
I want to get the floor done because I'm going to be off of the commission in April. That's
Okay.
one thing to get done.
Believe that
John,
is-
what are we, with the cost of shrink wrap doubling? I just had my boat done, shrink wrapped and put up, but the shrink wrap, and I have a 30-foot boat, it was $400.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, I didn't really see a big increase. So do you know what we're estimating we're paying for things like that?
Usually the GSC boat is about $250 roughly, give or take, maybe 225.
Yeah, okay.
My
That seems
boat,
about right.
my boat was, I indoor storage it now, but it used to be like 240 with the door. It wasn't bad.
I anticipate what's going to happen. I don't think they'll have room to store it indoors all winter, but we might be able to talk them into, finding a port in March, and sticking it in the warehouse in March, and then we can do whatever maintenance we want then, and then, maybe stick it in the water in April.
We usually put it in March.
Yeah, some March or April, whenever that
We
time comes.
usually put it in late. We usually put it in late March so we could get a sample run in for the month.
Right. All right. I'm glad you mentioned the battery problem. I did, at the last meeting, there was some talk about trying to straighten out what the electronics problem was. I did speak to the electronics place in Branford, and they were supposed to get back to me about coming to take a look and see if they can troubleshoot whatever the source of the power drain is on that thing, but I have not heard back from them. I tried calling them a couple times today. There was no answer, so I will stay on that.
Excuse me,
Moving
I
on.
just like, Bob, just a second. When I happen to be looking at the town website for your terms and your expirations for everyone, it lists John Hall and Peter as February 28th, 2023. So if I see John, you believe yours is expiring this coming year. So
I got on in 20. I came on my first official meeting was April of 2014.
well, whatever, I understand that that's what you think and that's what they don't. So if you could
Okay.
contact Tracy Brinkman in the selectman's office and double check what with her, because the website says that both you and Peter have another year.
Now they're 4-year terms, correct?
Yes.
So 2014, 2022, yeah, there's a, I
Right,
mean,
no,
Yeah.
the math sounds right. They have it wrong. Some,
Right, we just need to double check so that when you have your elections and, they're gonna be, the political parties are gonna be choosing people, and now you have a few people here that are going to be replacing people, so just
okay.
wanna make
Right.
sure that you're all on the same page.
thanks, Judy.
Yeah.
Stocking. Ed's not here, so as mentioned earlier, October, we did a lot of stocking. Some of it was mentioned in your meeting in October, but at the end of the month, we did the seed clam stocking from ARC. That's our big effort for the year. Typically, this year is about 325,000 immature clams, about 15 to 18 months old, sort of halfway through their life cycle before they become, legal size market clams. And they're beautiful. The product that they have is really nice. It's sparkling, clean, healthy, terrific stuff. My biggest problem is that they can never really give us enough. We always tell them we have $20,000 budgeted for it, and each time they always come up a couple $1,000s short. This year he did call me back afterwards. The guy, the primary said that pay more, but it would require a second trip and everything else. So I just want to hold on to him until next year, and maybe we can a couple $1,000 next. But I'm to him. We had a couple of volunteers, David and my friend Pat, and 2 boats, including Mike Bowman's personal boat. And it was actually a good day and a good effort. It's one of the best projects we do all year. Next item is the finance. Peter Charlin.
Yeah, let me, I do have the statement from the town. So fiscal year begins July, this year, July 2021. So we have financials July through October. We, on a year-to-date basis, have incurred expenses of $15,216. Year-to-date, our expenditures have been light, only $2,961. This month will skew it a bit because we've got some stocking and then more next month. So we'll balance out. But relative to comparative for last year, we had a budget of $53,350 in revenue. We generated $54,604 in revenue. And that was light on the commercial permitting side, as we know, because we just fell behind. So we'll see that commercial permitting spill into this year. But our expenditures for the last fiscal year were $38,876. So combination of, we were light on the commercial revenue side, but we were also light on the expenses on the stocking, generated a surplus of $15,726 that went into the capital reserves. Now we're sitting on $161,229 right now in our capital reserves. Some of this I expect for the 2021-2022 budget this fiscal year. We will overspend on expenses versus revenue, although that true up on the commercial side may keep us straight, but we're catching up on our stocking. Net of all that remains, we're so well capitalized with funding. The one thing I would consider, and it came up on the Harbor Management Commission, I also represent Shellfish on that. They're sitting on a capital surplus of some $38,000. They don't carry our cost base in any way like we do. They generate fees from mooring licenses, but they're looking at considering programs that they would provide a grant to that would benefit the community at large. Ideally, complemented with state or other funding to make an impact. I'm raising that because it's something that the Shellfish Commission, we may want to consider some amount of our capital budget to look for programs that we could invest in, maybe with other commissions or town entities, and matching funds from the state that would generate a major impact for the community overall.
Peter, don't we, I don't know if we did it last year, or even the year before with the whole COVID timeline, but I mean, we used to donate, I believe, $5,000 a year to the sound school for a scholarship. I mean, we should probably continue to do that.
I remember the number. I don't remember it being quite that large, but I do remember some in prior years. I don't know that we did that last year, John.
Yeah,
But
I want there's $1,000 for the Allison Varian Scholarship.
there are some initiatives floating around, Save the Sound and some others are looking at some major investments with state funding that could do an impact on stabilizing coastal erosion and along the Guilford shorefront, and some other, larger endeavors that we wouldn't be strictly us, we would be a part of it. So without jumping to the answer here, I'm just raising the fact that we might want to consider with some of the other commissions and other state entities, some larger programs that we could participate in. We can always do the discrete Allison Fund and Sound School, but there's some other, I'm hearing, larger programs that would have a more significant impact on Guilford's shorefront overall.
I think that's a great idea. It would be something we would have to consider very carefully as to what we do, but
yeah, it's a bigger thing when you think about it.
But yeah, I think that's great. It's a worthwhile thing to consider, and we should talk to harbor management or whatever if we find a worthy candidate and that.
And I'm not trying to poo-poo the idea of giving back to the community, but I also think we have to be mindful of the fact that we've had a really difficult time getting product to, replenish our stocks. And from what I'm gathering, from what I've observed, the price of stock clams continues to go up. We're having difficulty getting seed clam. That might, eventually, if it's, I'm thinking, more difficult to get, like anything else in the industry, it's going to be more expensive. We might need to be allocating more money to that. I know that this year and last we had difficulty finding product, but in order to, I guess keep it sustainable, and that, with the increase in license sales, I think we need to be mindful of that we may have to allocate more resources into our stocking program.
Certainly worth considering. Yeah, I mean, who knows what's going to happen with the price of things and availability, but we have a large budget surplus that we've been sitting on for as long as I've been on the commission, for at least 5 years.
And we're gonna have even larger one, because I don't know if I missed the receivables parts, but I have another $870 in license sales.
Yeah, no, and Peter had said that we are up about $8,000 over our norm, so that's maybe $9,000. So we certainly have the income at this point. So
Yeah, it's pretty clear.
I'm all for the idea. I think, though, like next year, if stuff comes available, we really just need to seize the opportunity to take advantage of it and really try to I guess increase what we're putting in, because it sounds like there's been a little bit more pressure the last few years. And I know in talking to Patty King, she was saying that a lot of in Connecticut, a lot of commercial clammers are getting out of the industry because they're not able to regenerate set on their own, and it's just not worth it to them anymore. So it's just something I think we need to be mindful of.
Okay.
Because without it, we don't have a program. That's all I'm saying. And I think that there, even though we have a surplus, I think thinking long term, that might not be a bad thing. That's all.
So one of the things that come to mind is, well, two things, John. One is we should probably, as a commission, splinter off some process to evaluate the direction of commercial shellfishing and its impact on our ability to stock. The other is we're not alone in this. If that happens, there are other communities that would be equally impacted. The Guilford Shellfish used to do our own seedling program back in the day, from what I understand. It may be of benefit that, you know, if in fact what you're saying is true and we find that to be the case, that we go back and look at the option to begin to develop our own seedling programs like we used to. We actually moved to buying stock because we were generating such profit that it was just more convenient to buy it than grow it on our own, right? That's the history of the Shellfish Commission. It's something, if the commission feels that what John's saying is true, you know, we ought to probably splinter off something to begin to look at that trend.
Yeah, there's a lot of sides that we have to
Yep.
consider. You know, this is obviously the very first mention of it, so
Yep.
it'll be revisited many times, I'm sure.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be the option that we have no other option. My point being, we could go back to the way it used to be when it was more cost effective to grow our own stock.
You know, Peter, that was mentioned to me too, down at the dock. And, you know, I had brought it up to Ed. I mentioned it to Ed. I mentioned it to Bob as well a few months ago. But maybe that's one way to also get the sound school involved.
Exactly.
That John had mentioned, you know, and use those guys as the resources, because I know we're all tapped in our everyday,
Yep.
you know, busy schedules and work and everything else. But maybe we can access these students, you know, to assist and help and sustain and,
Yep.
you know, build our own clams. That's one way to deal with it if this
Agreed.
continues.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's certainly a possibility.
That would be sustainable, Mike.
Yeah.
Next item is special projects. John Seviak or Peter Charlin, anything?
I've gotten an email from Sea Grant. They're doing a legal review of shellfish regulations. I found something in our old files that we had procedures and some ways of how our organization functions. And I'll send out an email to everybody, take a look at it, review it, then see what we think, because they're having a lawyer with Sea Grant is going to review all this stuff and then come up with some sort of a plan or some sort of a statewide regulation on shellfish.
Oh, okay. I didn't know, well, Sea Grant is a multi-state thing. Are they doing it in, you know, multiple states?
Yeah, it's gonna be something big. They wanted any input that we had on our own regulations to put into this, and then it's gonna be something that's gonna be combined all over the whole Northeast probably.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be a guideline sort of a thing, you know, they
Yeah,
got
it will be a guideline.
a body.
You're not gonna regulate, no, because the government regulates it already. It's gonna be more or less a guideline of stuff for legal. You know, might have some stuff with the kelp growing too, as far as the seed beds and kelp beds.
Thank
I have a bit of information, just a little bit, that I've heard that there's about $500,000 grant that is going to be used to study the erosion of the marshes in and around the mouth of the West River. It's state funding that erosion's causing increased sediment, you know, in the West River, the yacht club. So unrelated to anything to do with the yacht club, the state seems to be looking at, and subject to confirmation, but I understand the state has got an effort to start to study that whole area relative to stabilizing the erosion. I don't know what that means for shellfish right now, but that plus the infrastructure plan, which has got some significant money around preserving Long Island Sound. There's a number of things that are bubbling up that we might want to all start to learn more about and consider its implications for shellfish.
Okay. Where did you hear that from? What's the source?
Yacht club owners meeting.
Okay. All right, I will keep my ears to the ground. Actually, I'll probably end up talking to the Bureau of Aquaculture sometime soon. I'll see what they know.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Next item is signs. We sort of covered that. The signs are the same old thing, you know, they get changed by 2 or 3 and everything. Oh, I wanted to ask is Alan or Mike, do you guys need locks for the signs? Are they locks still holding up?
Bob, I could use the lock. I sent you guys the video as a kind of a joke. Last time we changed the sign and there was, we actually had surf hitting that sign down on Neck Road in Madison. And I almost got knocked on my ass a couple times. But no, the lock is kind of taking a beating down there. And I could use a replacement lock if we have them.
I have at least one. I think Ed has a couple too. So I can get you one. Well, why don't we talk in the morning when you're going out that way, and I'll try and connect with you.
Yeah, if you're going to be over on Goose Lane, I can swing in or try to meet you or something.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Next item is website. Peter, anything?
Only that I would, John, when will we have the new licenses over at Dee's and Fishing Factory? What I'd like to do is post on the on our Facebook page that the licenses are now available at all of our channels for purchase.
They'll have them on Friday. You could go ahead and do that because the Fishing Factory is only open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday right now, and Andrew will have them on Friday. I spoke to him yesterday. He was out fishing and he wasn't at his shop, so I don't think he might have sold 1 or 2. I doubt even if that. Peter, I came on a few minutes late because I was having a hard time sifting through my emails for the things. Do you want to record the ones from Dee's while we're here?
If you promise you'll get them to me by this weekend, sure.
I'll give you. I'll bring the Dee's ones over right after the meeting if you want. But we have 2 resident annual residents at $25 each. We have 6 annual non-residents at $75 each. We have 6 non-resident seniors at $75 each, and 1 daily. That's 15 licenses minus a $45 VIG. It's $870.
$875.
$870.
70 D's.
70
Thank you. From D's. Okay.
from Dee's.
Great.
I have the remaining 2021 licenses. I'll drop it all off right after the meeting. If you're there, I'll be over in like 5 minutes right after the meeting.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll post on the Facebook page that licenses are now available. Everybody agreed. They're effective immediately, so they can be used the remainder of 2021 and all of 2022. They are a great holiday gift, stocking stuffer. Buy them while they're available. So, and as you guys will see when you get some, I've used the new paper that was available. That's more water resistant, doesn't really require any laminating, but you can write on it. So I think that the new stock that we had from Tyco is going to be an upgrade over the prior licenses, much more durable.
Good. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Peter, question. I know a couple of meetings ago we talked about maybe some Shellfish Commission hats.
Oh, yeah.
Any further talk or discussion about that? That might be.
Yeah, I had the takeaway on starting to look at that, and I honestly I haven't had it's been flat out. So that's on me. Anybody who wants to help is more than welcome.
I've been talking to a person that I know that does all that kind of stuff. She and I are talking quite a bit and going back and forth with different samples. I was a little surprised at how expensive they were at wholesale. So initially my thought was to try and keep them as cheap as possible, but then I saw the samples of what the cheap hats were like, and they were really cheap. So we kind of went backwards the other direction. We sort of settled on a hat that I wear. I gave it to her as a sample, and she's trying to duplicate that. And she should have it. It's like sort of a waterproof, almost like a duck cloth hat with like a wax coating on it, so it's a little bit weatherproof, something you can wear out in the rain or whatever. But that same logo that was on the old hat, and they would be about, I want to say about $20 a piece. She's going to get a final sample put together for me, hopefully this week. I did want to ask, there was talk at the last time we discussed this about getting another hat made to sell. I mean, the hat that I've been working on has been a hat just for commission members. Do we still want to do that? Do we want to go into the hat business?
No, I don't know if we want to go into the hat business, but
All
I think
right.
you'd have a good following with as many
I
people.
do
as say-
too, but I think we should explore that. I agree with Mike, because there's a little bit of, I don't know, something about, like my hat, my stepdaughter's fiance craved it, and so is wearing it around. So there's something we could do there. I agree with Mike. We should look at that.
Okay. All right. So do we have a consensus that if the hat is, at the same standard of the old one, I should go ahead and buy them? Or do the people want to see them first before we buy them?
Yeah, it'd be nice to see them.
Yeah, see
Okay.
before we buy them, yeah.
I've seen
Okay.
you in a hat. I just
Probably a good price for me, probably get about $30 a hat for me, because I went to a Yard Goats game and it cost me $45 for a baseball hat. You could probably do pretty well with these hats if you want to sell them.
Right. So, all right, when I get one in my hand, I'll make the rounds so everybody can take a look.
Yeah, I bet you Alan would like one.
I bet you Alan would like one. Yeah.
I'll buy Alan's.
Item 7 on the agenda, updates from the different advisory boards. So Land Acquisition Committee, John Sevier.
Okay, we had quite a meetings, last couple of meetings have been pretty productive. We got a list of properties that they're considering. One that looks interesting, but we can't do too much about it. It might be on the West River. That might have some impact with the shell fishing. But the rest of them, they're kind of back and forth with, for right now. It's about the best I could put it without getting into too many details.
Okay. And so just the one piece of property that may be impacting the shellfish, the other ones do not.
Might be something in the West River area that it has the weight. Each property that they look at has a certain weight, and this might be pushing a little more ahead because it's on the West River. It has anything to do with clamming. Anything with West River would have an effect on clamming for us.
By all means, yeah, we got a lot of customers up. All right, so please keep us informed if anything happens there. Sea Grant Advisory Board, John, I sort of spoke about it already. Is there anything else?
No, there's nothing else. That was just a Sea Grant. That was the only one that came through.
Gotcha. Peter, Harbor Management Commission.
Very quiet at Harbor Management, other than, as I said earlier, Harbor Management's got a fund surplus. They don't really have the capital expenses that others like us have. They're looking at programs they may endow in it. I came up with the shellfish surplus, so I raised that earlier, that there may be other constituencies that want to collaborate on a larger initiative that we might pool our assets and kick off something larger.
Yeah,
Otherwise, that's it.
If they find a worthy candidate, by all means, keep us all informed. Either we do something with them as a joint effort, or we go separately, or look for a similar.
This is all just conversational at this point. For it to proceed, if we all felt there were different programs, we probably want to put a subcommittee together collectively and begin to explore the options. It's
Right.
very early on. It's just conversational.
Okay, great. Docks, moorings, or other potentially impacting projects. John Sevier.
Nothing report.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, item 8, old business.
Hey,
Review.
did we forget the residential, the licenses? We just skip over.
Did it come up in finance? I don't think it did.
Yeah. Do you mind? I mean, it fits in there somewhere. Do you mind if I kind of report on that because these are receivables?
Absolutely. Let's get it in.
So we have a total of $3,774 of receivables to submit for the month of November. Captain Morgan by check, $1,028, 10 annual non-res, 3 annual non-res senior, 5 annual res, 1 annual res senior. Another $1,876 for Captain Morgan. We had 2 months from them by check, 20 annual non-res, 4 annual non-res senior, 8 annual res, 1 annual res senior. And then as John just recorded earlier, D's $870, 2 res, 6 non-res, 6 res senior, 1 daily, total $3,774 of receivables that I'll be submitting to finance this month.
Thank you. That doesn't require any kind of approval, so.
No, it does not.
Okay. Item 8 on the agenda, review of the Shellfish Management Plan. This is something that has been on every single month I've been to a meeting, and we're still in limbo with the state. They are dealing with staffing shortages, and we're just going to sort of continue to operate under the status quo. Next item is commission member status. Especially since we have some interested parties here tonight, we should talk about that. I think we have a full slate of commissioners at this point, but with 1 opening for a alternate position. All commissions in town have the requirement that they have to sort of match the political party makeup of what the selectman's office is. You know, that if there's a Republican in charge, then should be more Republicans on this commission. Although I think Ed had spoken to the first selectman and gotten that requirement waived for us because we're not really setting policy. We're just doing clams. So that may or may not still hold true. I'm going to clarify with them as to where we stand on that. So for the interested people there, if you really want to get involved, I suggest that you sort of stick around, and we're sort of coming into the quiet time of the year. There is 1 alternate slot, but I would advise that you go for a boat ride or come out onto one of the stocking projects or do something with the commission before you formally apply. It's probably worthwhile to sort of see what it's like. It's a good group of people and it's a busy commission. Something happens, not every single day, but something happens with this commission every single week at a minimum. It's not something you do this month and then a month later you have to go back and remember what you did last month. There's plenty to do. And I think Don Kowalski is now officially recognized. He was on the commission and got removed because of that political party affiliation requirement, but is now back on board. So we are back to full slate.
He was missing tonight. Is he intending to be participating in these meetings?
Yeah. When I spoke to him, last time I spoke to him was during stocking 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And then we were supposed to do water samples last week, and he's back, back on board.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. Any David or Joe, do you guys have any questions about what's going on?
Not really at this point. Although I do see a possible T-shirt you could sell. The slogan, "We're not doing policy, just clams," is brilliant. I think there could be some money there.
Right.
I like it, David.
Right. I saw a guy that said that had a T-shirt that said, "I dig clams." So yeah, I was gonna go.
Like that too, Bob. See, there's money to be made in this stuff.
Right.
Years ago, you had a sticker that came out. We still have it in our garage.
Right. So thanks for sticking around. There's not a lot of excitement on these meetings. So if you're interested, stay in touch. And
I do have a question.
Sure.
Since all you guys are here that know all this stuff, Okay, so I see the different pressures here. There aren't enough clams to plant. There are all these new people seem to be interested over the last year or so. Is that true? A lot more licenses being sold in the past few years. So is there what's the pressure on the clams? Are there enough clams? Will there be enough clams for all these new folks and everyone who's still interested? Is that a calculus you guys look at as far as planning and what you're thinking about?
But that got tested, David, during the COVID environment when our access to stocking was very limited in prior years. And I had not been here as long as some of the other guys, but we would stock an inordinate amount of clams, particularly in the seedlings. And with the seedlings, the yield ratio, survival rate's lower the smaller they are. But we went through a fair amount, a period of time where we were not stocking. And as Alan had attested earlier, there was plenty of stock. And now we've just replenished. I think we just spent, guessing at what we spent with Chris Walston, but we probably just spent $33,000. And we're going to be spending more. It seems like stock's available, the price is up a bit, but we evaded any risk of having an issue with stocking. I think we're solid, to be honest.
But if the number of folks who want a clam increase like another 20% or 10% year over year for the next couple of years or whatever, are there enough clams? In other words, you have enough product for your customers. Do you need more customers, or do you need more product? What are the challenges going forward? Like just from a real simple business perspective.
Very simple business perspective, we generate more income, we buy more stock.
Right.
Unless there's, as John mentioned, if there becomes, which is why we probably need to have a forward-looking view of the availability of stock. And if the forward-looking view suggests that we're going to have a challenge, we get our seedlings from Massachusetts. We may need to go to, and we've gone to New Jersey. We may need to do more of that. We may need to go back to look at investing maybe with the Sound School and developing our own seedling program. And so all those variables are under our control.
Yeah, it's interesting. So the future is kind of, maybe different looking forward than a couple of years ago when you look forward a couple of years. Now
Future may look like the past.
Yeah. So cool. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for the question.
I think, and David, from what I understand, the Guilford program, which has been around for some time, and the manner in which it's been run, it is considered, if not certainly among the top programs in the entire state.
Yeah.
I can tell you for a fact that Guilford has the largest municipal shellfish program in the state in terms of the number of licenses sold.
Yeah.
And the number of the amount of money that is invested into restocking, without a doubt. And also the sort of the number of beds, the number of sampling stations, everything is proportionally as big as place around.
Yeah. Well, I've only known about it from the outside, so to speak, but I've been here almost 20 years and have shellfished almost since I got here. And I always thought of it as something that was really cool, but not really publicly known about. I don't know. It just seemed like it's still under the radar. And maybe that's the way you all want it, which is cool, but I'm just interested in if there's thought about that. Like, we want it to be more known, we want it to be less known, it's fine the way it is. Is there a discussion about, how we fit into the community, or how the shellfishing program fits into the community, and what its profile is in the community? It's something that you care about. You may not.
The variable always will be, and Alan can attest to this, living over at Trolley Road, the balance of how access to the water impacts the local neighbors and community, and we want to be respectful of that. We have a pretty good balance right now. We saw an uptick because of COVID and the limitations people had on doing anything, like how healthy is shellfishing. So we saw more access to the water. Will that kind of revert back, probably to some degree at some point, but I don't know that we want to do a whole commercial promotion and drive the public at large to the water, we would create a
Right.
whole new set of issues with the neighbors.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's a balance, right?
Mhm.
You know, it's sort of a quaint program for most of the people in town. There are, as you know, if you go down there in January, there are people that do it, you know, fanatically, that are there, you know, on the coldest days that are going clamming. You know, people do it for fun. They do it for food. They do a lot for the Super Bowl.
Right.
You'll see a lot of people out there.
Right. Some people do it for therapy. That's me. It's therapy, you know.
Right. Walk around in the muck for a while. You know, but yeah, I don't think we want to get any, at least not intentionally, any bigger than we are, because it brings along, you know,
Yeah, no, exactly. That's
more problems than we already have. I don't
no,
think we
no.
can anymore.
I'm just curious about the headspace about it, you know, like where you guys are and yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, thank you.
Is there a limit to what you can charge to out-of-state clammers?
Out of state or out of town?
Out of town, sorry. Yeah, out of jurisdiction, whatever.
I don't know that there's a limit. The Guilford license is pretty expensive by sort of local standards. I think in the town of Milford, it's free, but they don't, you know, they have water sampling, but they don't stock. And then there's a couple of, I don't know. I know Saybrook has a program, Clinton has a program. But I don't think they're anywhere near for out of town.
It's funny, Bob, I just looked at this because I was up, I raised my kids in Massachusetts and Duxbury, and they have a Shellfish Commission. So I was looking at their rates for licenses, and I went back and I looked at Stonington and Milford. I saw that, and I looked at a couple other areas. East Lyme has programs. So we're in the ballpark. We're a little higher on the non-resident, but we're competitive on the resident. Our senior rates are, I mean, so we're, you know, generally plus or minus where everybody else is. There were a couple things I saw that I did like. Veterans in veteran senior programs were either free or really low. I liked that idea. I thought that was a real positive for community outreach. So a couple of things that were of interest that we might pursue, but see, I was looking at it as a time to raise our rates, but in fact, we seem to be generally in a good place.
Yeah, but a good question. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions or concerns? Moving on to the next thing, there was one more item in the old business, the RFP process for commercial lots, including dual purpose lots. Issuance of a letter of intent to lease, limited leases based on grower and harvester meat, and set criteria of showing a lot to be used appropriately. This is all in relation to the kelp farming that is somewhat prevalent. I mean, we have one grower now, and there were one or two other applications that were being talked about back in the spring. I haven't heard anything about them since March or April. And I don't know that there's anything new on this process. Peter, have you heard anything new?
No, what I would like to tee up for discussion for next month is that we do have documents that at least we could put on the website that is our current established policies, and there's some state guidelines that define the responsibility of the Shellfish Commission and Guilford versus the state. So there's 3 documents. I just think it'd be great to put on the website. That would be helpful. But creating any new policy is something I think we need to take under consideration. I would just simply, let's just put what the simple 3 documents that are out there, put them on the website, make them available.
I think that's a good idea. I think, in fact, the guy Doug that was at our last meeting who's interested in a new commercial lot asked for that specifically, and I think it's a good idea.
I'll fish those out and submit those next month for approval to put on the website.
Okay, I'm making a note for myself here to talk to the state about the RFP as well. Okay. Item number 9, new business, Warden MOU statement. There
I'll
was,
just report, and Alan's here. Alan has signed the MOU, as have the other wardens. So that, the memorandum of understanding is in place for our wardens. And I want to thank everybody for that.
yes, thank you. That was something that was sort of hanging over our head from back in the summertime when the town attorney wanted us to get those signed. So thank you to everyone who got that done.
Yeah, there's no change in any policies here other than just clarification, and continue to do the wardens will do the great work they continue to do.
Right. All right. Item 10, adjournment. Anyone want to make a motion to adjourn?
Move that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, everybody, thank you.
Peter, I'll see you. I'll be over in a few minutes, Peter.
All right.
Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
you.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Take care.
Have Bye-bye.
Thanks for including me. I
Thanks
appreciate
for
it.
coming, David.
Take care all.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Good to meet you guys.
Bye.